Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Dontae Catlett, and on this channel, I love to document my journey as an entrepreneur, filmmaker, and photographer. So if that sounds good to you, consider subscribing to the channel today, hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you hit that bell icon so you never miss out on another video that I upload. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I edited this epic iPhone sequence on Adobe Premiere Pro. Alright, so this is the setup that we have right here. First thing I do is I get all of my clips imported and I review all of my clips. We have about 11 clips here. I've already edited the full video. I have my audio track, which is extremely important. I highly recommend that you have a song in mind before you shoot, and if you don't, definitely get one before you start editing because this will save you a ton of time. I can't stress how much time I've wasted looking for songs. So for the sake of this video, we do have to be careful because this song will become copyrighted on YouTube. But for the video, we use Travis Scott's Sicko Mode right here. Classic song with Drake on there. Usually when I look for songs, I usually like to look for the drop in the song. That's the most important part for me. And then all of the couple of seconds before that first drop, that's usually where I put my BTS. And I'll show you what I mean by a drop. Here's the drop coming up here. 3, 2, 1. So that's the drop to me right there. That's where I would normally edit. Now, it doesn't matter if you're editing in an editing suite like Adobe Premiere Pro, iMovie, Final Cut. If you are using any of those other apps, then you'll definitely be able to follow along. If you're editing in a mobile suite, it's basically the same thing. The only thing that you're limited to is the effects and the controls that you have, and obviously having a bigger screen. Whether you're editing on your computer or your phone, I guarantee you can get a similar look. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do want me to make a mobile version of this video edit. The first thing you want to do if you're using Adobe Premiere Pro is you're going to want to press Command N. That's going to create a new sequence. And then we're going to make sure that this is the setting that we choose. I usually like to use the digital SLR just because it has all the settings right here that I need. 1920 by 1080, 23 frames per second, H.264. That's all perfect. Then I would just name this editing breakdown, right? And then what I have to do is you come into the settings right here. The time code is good. The editing mode is good. Now the frame size, 1920 horizontal by 1080 vertical is going to be if you're shooting with your camera in landscape mode, which is horizontal. But since this is an iPhone video, everything was shot vertically. So we're actually just going to flip. And what that does is it keeps the same aspect ratio, but it just turns it. So it's going to be 1080 by 1920. And here is our timeline. So here's the full video right here. See, I have my BTS right there, just 3 shots. And then we're going to show the full video with the edits and everything and all of the sound effects. And it is very, very simple. I believe it was only 13 different shots. So let's go ahead and break this down real quick. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is open up your audio track and find exactly where you want it to start at. So you just play it out. You can scrub across. So right there, I put an in mark right on the drop. And what I can do is I can zoom in here before I drop it into our timeline and just scrub across, go straight to the beginning. I missed it by 1 frame, so that's where I want it to be. If you hear that little doof sound, that's where the drop's going to be at, so it'll start. Like I said, this is where the drop's at. I'm going to keep my playhead right here, and I'm going to drag my audio track just a couple seconds forward, and I'll make a cut right there just so I know that's exactly where the drop is at, and that's where my first cinematic shot should go. So if we go back to where I edited this, okay, so what I like to do is review all of my clips. As you can see here, this is not on the timeline. This is the raw clip right here. And what I'll do is I'll make these in and out marks. Figure out exactly where I want the first clip to be at. Okay, right there's the first one. You see some motion. So I make an in and out mark and I'll drag it right here into our timeline. Same thing for the second clip. The first couple of clips should tell a story. It should say where we're at, who's shooting with, and why is it grabbing your viewer's attention. If I was holding a camera, this probably wouldn't be as interesting, But because I'm recording on a phone, people want to know, what the hell is this guy doing? Third clip that I have right here is Chrissy sitting down and then me basically standing up and reaching towards the sky to get that sky transition. So now that we have all three of these on our playhead, basically what I did was I edited them to the beat. If you listen, yep, boom. So everything is on the beat. That's the important thing. If you're editing, you must edit on the beat. There's a quote by one of my favorite directors, Martin Scorsese, and he says, "Your edits should be so good that the viewer who's watching your video can blink and they'll miss the transition and wish that they could rewind." So I have 3 BTS shots and a total of 4 shots for the cinematic video. There was 2 wide shots and 2 mid shots. If you wanted to get an extreme close-up, like the details on Chrissy's pants or her shoes or her sweater, then that's definitely something that I would throw in there. The more clips that you have, the better, because it's going to allow you to tell a better story in post when you're editing it. And if you messed up on something, it's always better to have more clips than less. Find your music and then select the right clips. Step 3 is to edit on the beat. So that's what we're doing right now. We're going to edit on the beat. And if we tap into here and go into my effects controls, I can show you what I did is I made a keyframe. As we play this, you'll notice that this number starts to go up right here on scale. That's because if I drag this clip up, I made a keyframe. And basically a keyframe allows you to create an animation. If you look at this shot very carefully, you'll notice that it's actually zooming in and out as I scrub through the playhead. That's because I created a keyframe on the scale. The scale controls how much your clip zooms in and out, and the position right here goes left and right. So we're going to undo all that, what we just did. On every shot, I either zoomed out or I was zooming in just to create more depth, because without the zooming effect, I'll show you what we get. That's with no zooming in or out. But now with the keyframe with the scale in and out, just gives the shot more depth and it just makes it more dynamic. Another thing that you notice is on the before and after. If you look at the before, the sky is less saturated, all of the colors are desaturated. But when you come to the final edit, you'll notice that it's extremely saturated, more warm. And I just want to create a more cinematic look when you're seeing the before and after. So when that drop hits, it's like, wow, that was epic. The shots are really clean and smooth and the colors immediately capture your attention. The next part is editing on beat. So if you notice here, I added in this RGB effect. It kind of gives it a glitch when it goes in between each shot. I like to do that just to make it a little bit more dramatic. And also there's a sound effect here if you listen. You can always drag in more layers of audio, and this will give you a way better viewing experience for your audience because you're immersing them in the environment. If there's birds flying around, if you're by a beach or you're at a park, feel free to add in ambience noise because this will add layers onto your clips and it'll keep your audience more engaged into your videos. Right here, I created a nested sequence with 3 different clips. If I double click on this, it'll open it up in a separate sequence bar right here on the timeline. And basically what I did was this one clip, I made it fast. I sped it up by, if I go to speed duration, I sped it up to 150. Normally it's at 100. Everything that I shoot at is in 60 frames. So that way, by the time we get here, we can go slow motion. So notice how fast and slow it gets. You'll notice it gets slower and then it gets faster. So that last fast clip right there is creating a transition in between this dumpster right here and it goes straight to the ground afterwards. So I'll play it out. And the reason why I did that 3-piece speed up, slow down, speed up, if you listen to the song right here, you'll hear it boom, boom, boom. And you can even see it in the wavelengths right here. So I'm editing on the beat, right? The first bass drop, boom, speed up, coming fast down from the sky. Second one is Chrissy going in slow motion. Third one is the transition. It doesn't look much, but when you speed it up fast like that on both sides, it creates a seamless transition right there. So when the viewer's watching it, they're like, dang, how did we get from there all the way to this area so fast? I took the phone upside down and I recorded it from the ground. And as I was coming up, I tilted the phone up just a little bit more and then I went really fast. Play around with this. Always make sure you review your clips. Don't just assume that you got it. Always double check your settings. Make sure you're shooting on 4K. Make sure you're shooting on slow motion. Make sure that you're exposure and your focus setting is locked, so that way you don't get any weird looking clips. So the next nested sequence that we're going to click on right here is going to reveal the ground up transition. So for this, the speed was 300, then we went to 40, and then we went back to 400 just to give it a little bit more faster. And really, it just depends how fast you want to speed it up. This is all trial and error, speeding it up. But usually I'll change this number right here, and I'll pay attention to the duration. The duration is important because if you want to match up your beats with the songs and the clips, you have to know how many seconds or frames. So if I go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with my arrow key on the keyboard, that's a total of 5 seconds that it's moving this forward. And you can see right here on the timeline as we go forward and we scrub through it. So speed ramp fast, slow motion. The slow motion is so that way we can get the details on the shoes and the pants, right? It's like, okay. Then we go up to the sky fast. Right when we go up to the sky, if we go back to our other timeline, going up and then coming back down to the next transition point, and it kind of looks like I moved backwards, but I really didn't. So we play it, it just looks smooth. It comes up and then comes back down to a wide shot of Chrissy walking. Now the same thing is happening right here where we edited on beat, and if I zoom into my timeline, we went 200 for fast, 40 for slow motion, 200 again, and 40. So if I play the song, so there was a couple of beats that I definitely hit on there. And if you're not familiar with how to do this, basically you just play the song over and over again and listen very carefully with your ears. If you can't do that, then something I would recommend is just opening up the wavelengths and seeing where the beats are hitting. So if I came here and I use my arrow key and I scrub, you hear that snare? I know that there's a beat right there. But I decided instead of cutting on the snare, I was going to cut on the bass right here. Boom, boom, 2 bass hits, boom, 3 bass hits. So it looks like I edited on all 3 of the bass hits and I didn't edit on any of the snares. So after we do that, we went down to the floor and then we went up from the floor. Remember when I said in the beginning you want to transition in between things that look the same? By going like this slow, it just looks like there's a motion blur on there. But because there's similar textures and colors and shadows, when going fast, it all looks like one movement. Right? Isn't that crazy? In-camera transitions will trump transitions that you can do in any editing software. So it's like I can add a cross dissolve or something, right? But that looks kind of corny to me. I don't really like that kind of an edit. That's just what I prefer. That's just my style. Everyone has to find their own style and what works for them, but it's all trial and error at the end of the day. So here are my key takeaways for this video. Step 1 is to make sure you have an idea. Plan out exactly what you're going to be shooting. Every idea has a story behind it, so find the story. Every story has a beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't require dialogue whatsoever. We just need to know who your character is, where they're at, and what they're doing. A story can start off in the beginning, it can start off in the middle, but at some point people need to know what is going on. Step 2 is figure out what music you want to use for the pace of the video, and then make sure you select the right clips. You don't want to sit there and record, 5 minutes of footage and dump that into your editing software. You're going to waste a lot of time. If you know exactly where your good points were at, where you were shooting, just trim all of the bad stuff off and delete it and then drop that into the timeline. That way that'll save you a ton of time editing. Step 3 is editing to the beat of your song. Remember, if you edit to the beat of your song, this will give your viewer an immersive feeling where they feel like they're really a part of the video and they have to watch it over and over again to figure out how you put it together, just like a really good magician. Step 4 is in-camera transitions will trump editing software transitions. Step 5 is just to have fun. If I showed you my videos from 10 years ago, you wouldn't have thought that I created those videos. Never stop shooting. Shoot every single day. You can always get better at something. There's always new updates with camera equipment, with editing software, and there's always new techniques for you to learn and try. So never stop learning and never stop shooting. That is the most important thing. I've shot over 1,000 videos and I've edited over 1,000 videos, and it's made me the filmmaker who I am today, and there's still so much that I am trying to learn. I guarantee you Steven Spielberg is a way greater director than I am. but I might be a better editor than he is. Who knows? Comment down below what you want to see on this channel next. If you want to learn more about iPhone videography, I have a playlist listed in the description box down below and a list of different tools that I use as a filmmaker and a photographer that you can get. And it's not sponsored, they are affiliate based, so I will get a small commission, and that helps support this channel so that I can continue creating these dope videos for you guys. If that sounds good to you, I upload videos every single week. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're not already. Hit that bell icon so you never miss out on another one of my videos. My name is Dontae Catlett, and I'm out.
I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like